Alright, let's get started. In this video, I just want to cover my top 10 moves for King for Tekken 7. These moves are not in any particular order, they're just my favorite moves either because they're incredible or they're just very satisfying whenever they land. So we're going to get started with one of my favorites, which is Back 1. This is King's long-range, kind of 12-frame Punisher that can lead to 32 damage on natural hit combo, or if you ever are able to actually score a critical hit, it puts him in a crumpled state for also very big damage, which just is always satisfying to have just a very simple long-range poke that's such a high-threat item, which puts Back 1 to be part of my top 10. Next, we have Crouch Dash 1. This is a super long-range, low attack that I catch a lot of people with. And what's also really good is it's safe on block. So the one thing that I do have to worry about, or King players have to worry about of using Back 1 is kind of low parry. But everything else, it's -9 on block. If not, it can lead to some really big damage kind of combos as we continue on. Next, we're actually going to take our opponent to the wall. And this is kind of a combination, so I really like Giant Swing because it looks really awesome, but it feels much more satisfying if you actually get the combo on the wall. This entire just breakup animation of King pummeling him on the wall is just super satisfying, and it's always just super satisfying to get a full Giant Swing off because the whole time you're seeing if your opponent's going to tech or not, and it's just something to cheer for, which makes kind of the Giant Swing and like the wall grab really satisfying to do. Next, this isn't necessarily a great move, but down 3. It comes out a little slow, especially compared to down forward 4. But down forward 3 just has a satisfying crunch, and after a lot of combos, once your opponent is prone, just stepping on them is a really quick option to do to seal that damage, especially if you're knocking them down on the wall. Just crunching them, and then a lot of times you can just keep this pressure on. And if once you train them a little bit, then you can start throwing in some kind of mid stuff to catch them more, or even best, once you get them trained, kind of leads into my next move of forward 4 to re-wall splat. Forward 4 is our tracking move. It hits mid. I believe it's a little bit negative on block, but it's just super satisfying. And a lot of moves that are just kind of that quick shin hit, it will kind of low crush it and just kind of slap them away to do kind of just massive damage as you move forward. And it's just really satisfying to hear that crunch. Next we have his armor attack, which is his shoulder rush, so forward 2-3. Not only does it feel super satisfying when it hits, but also when it actually eats up armor. It can be super annoying for different opponents. This is again also very negative on block, so it's not something that I really spam, but especially if I'm against a character that does a lot of strings, or I see a player like to do a lot of strings, during those kind of a bigger gap, I like to throw this in, eat a little bit of the damage, but get this hit in for 27 damage, which is a strong one-hit move, and then we kind of continue on with the match. After that, I really like forward toward neutral 1-1-2. This very shove, it looks very innocent, but as long as you are able to kind of continue pressure, it opens up so much more options once you get that crit hit to actually do good damage. And so it keeps pressure on, but then it also enables you to do some damage and it breaks them up for just multiple different options. That one being the strongest, dealing 43 damage of something that just does no damage on hit. It's even on block, but then it also has the potential to do 43 damage for a 100% safe mid move. The only downside is you do have to be really close to him to kind of take the effect of dealing that damage, but even at the wall, if you're able to score a crit hit, you're able to easily kind of pop them into this wall to do any kind of wall throw shenanigans to add up damage, which makes forward neutral 1+2 part of my top 10. After that, this is another kind of wall-enabled move, which is up 1+2. It just is super satisfying animation of just picking them up, holding them there, and just kind of choke slamming them into the wall to do massive damage. And then of course this kind of piles in with the giant swing wall grab. And just those two moves, even if it may not be the most damaging, kind of two combos, it's definitely up there as one of my favorites. The next is you've seen me do, and every single King player should know how to do, is running Jaguar Bomb. So after we do a combo, we put them in tailspin of actually getting them into this running move. Not only does it run very close to the wall, it sets up that down 3 kind of crunch move shenanigans, in which then we're able to mix up into different mid-style games. But running Jaguar Bomb just in general just is super satisfying when you're able to actually nail it, which puts it on my list. And then the last one is one of King's unblockable moves of just 1+4, in which he just kind of turns around, he sparkles a little bit, and you grab him. This also does some good damage for grounded opponents and setting up different instances. In which you're able to actually continue on and set up the potential for kind of mix-up opportunities. Like that instance, if I'm seeing my opponent not really tech after this little combo, I just love hitting 1+4 and smashing them on the ground, or if they stand up, then they still eat damage, and so on and so forth. It is very easy to sidestep, but it just feels so satisfying, especially when you're kind of turning on being total bulldogish to an opponent, and they're just blocking. Why is that? I'm set to start all. Well, they're just like blocking. I do a lot of things, and they look defensive, and then you just throw out the unblockable, and it just feels so satisfying that you don't have to like just rely on one of your throw options, that you are continuing this damage, and then you just bop them, because it just shows that they're really not paying attention and don't know the matchup. So that's my top 10 favorite moves for King. I use them depending on the situation. The frequency changes, but back one is probably definitely my most favorite. While it may not be the most exciting thing to do, it's safe. Same thing with forward neutral 1+2. Those are my kind of go-to moves that I really want to see a lot of King players use time and time again, because they just open up so many options that we have in different matchups. So with that, this was a short and simple kind of video, and hopefully you can comment on what are your favorite kind of King moves, and if you think something should have made the list that I didn't include, let it know in the comments. So until then, we'll see you guys next time.